Yay!
Incredible what Josh has done. The last time we had an audit, there were 10 MCs. Full 4 days, we had 2 minors. Very, very small things. So he did every person here did an incredible job. We couldn't have done it without everybody here, but he put a lot of work into it, and it is a better result than any of us thought. So let's give him a huge
All right,
round.
yeah. Good job. Yeah.
So much. Incredible, incredible job. We owe you.
So we have 3 closings today and we will be starting off.
I'd rather do it without the mic. Can you guys hear me over there? Alright, good. Yeah, I know, you know that already. I've done A3s before, but I've never done a corrective action. So, bear with me. This corrective action is about, we had a part that we had an issue with marking. Part of the problem was that marking violated the specs. Alright? The marking was running off the part. So when we submitted one piece to Paul to QA, when we submitted one piece to QA, it was done one way. It was done the vertical way, according to the blueprint, according to the object. And when we finished the entire job, it was done the opposite way. It was done vertical, which made the marking run off the part, which violated the specs. Okay, so like I said, this is my first one. I've talked with Josephina, I talked with Ridwan, and I did kind of backwards. And I went to talk to Paul and Dan Bossy at the end, which I should have done at the beginning. Okay, which this is supposed to be a closing, but by the time I'm finished, I might have to keep it open for a little bit more. Okay, so what I did was the contamination of containment of the parts. It was our first time doing this job, so the only containment was the ones that we had in QA. So we didn't have to go into the stock room. We didn't have to run around the shop looking for any other job. Containment was already done. It was already in QA, so that was done. One of the root causes that I found out, and when I talked to the operator, when I talked to QA, and I didn't have to talk to everyone, is that they was on the same page where the old way that we was doing things, according to the tribal knowledge, is if it's done on that same surface as the op sheet, vertical or horizontal, it's okay. That's the old tribal way. All right, whether it's horizontal or vertical, it was okay to do it, but it was in violation. Another thing was when it was okay by the end process, the operator thought it was okay. When the engineering saw the first piece, they thought it was going to be okay. So when the operator was doing it, they thought, I got the okay, so we're going to move on with it. It's going to be fine. Unbeknownst to that person that we're going to run into an issue. All right. Another issue I found was the gauge. The gauge has some slack in it. So anytime manufacturer, anytime you have slack in it, it can detour the part left to right, up and down. Okay? So so what I did was when I talked to them, when I talked to the operator, when I talked to the process, we talked about making that op sheet where it specifically says this direction. It's kind of like going on a one-way street. If it says one way, you don't go the opposite way, right? So that's what we pretty much did from the old op sheet to the new op sheet. We changed the verbiage just a little bit to say, horizontal only. Right now that takes care of the issue with this part, but it's more of a global issue because, like I said, with tribal knowledge we say we can do it on this surface. But the truth is, for sure, every op sheet pretty much just say this way only or that way. That takes the guessing out of it from the operator. That takes all the guessing out of it. And another thing that I found out at the end when I talked to Paul and Dan Bossy is that we need to train our operators operators. We need to train ourselves a little bit better because we say yes, we can do it this way or that way, but we never told them if it runs off the edge, if it violates Pratt and Whitney, PW, whatever. We never talk to operators about that. We say okay. Another thing I figure out is like you can say, well, if they market it, they should be looking at every piece. If we form it, we should be looking at every piece. If we stem whatever we're doing, we should look. But you know, in manufacturing, you cannot look at pieces 100% unless you're Miss Candy or somebody in QA that does 100%. But in production, you really can't. We try to, but we can't. Right? So we might need a little bit more training on letting everybody know what violates the specs, you know, what's violating the specs, or as we go farther with this, maybe start to change some of the options and tell them which direction we're going, or cut the tribal knowledge and say we're going to follow what the blueprint says, what the op says. If there's any discrepancy, we're going to see the engineer right away so he can sign off that we're going to only do it this way. That's about the only way I see that we can stop this right now. And like I said, if we decide that I don't need to close this and I need to do a little bit more research, then that's what we're going to do.
Well, I like to go with Laura, okay? Thanks, kind of with her.